I just had a conversation with who I'm going to describe as an anonymous white person who works in education, who was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that Elon did that on stage." And I was like, "Yeah, that's welcome to the new age." And they were like, "It's because he's autistic and like lacks social skills, right?" And I was like, "We've both worked with autistic students before. You and I both know that's not autism. If he lacks social skills, it's probably because he's a nepo baby who's never been told no." But the part I'd like to unpack is the need to try to find a reason. What I said to them is the reason why you're trying to assign this action to some neurodivergence is because you have been trained to try to find a reason and to excuse away racism on behalf of white people, especially white men. That is white supremacy living on the inside of you. And that is a you thing that you need to take time to unpack here in 2025 because it's just going to keep happening. And as it keeps happening, the question is, are you going to push against it or are you going to make excuses for it? Because at least the black folks I know, the black folks in my life, the black folks I've seen on my feed, when it happened, we were like, I mean, yeah, of course he did that. Are you shocked? I guess. But like, most of us have seen white people do some extremely out of pocket things behind closed doors. We just assume that they now feel emboldened with Trump to do it outside. So we don't have time to walk anymore. You need to unpack white supremacy expeditiously. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I have another video I want to play, but let's go ahead and look at some of these comments in regards to this. And first off, I was shocked, but then I was like, I'm not surprised. Like, I mean, this is you. You know, this is not autism. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. It ain't that. Okay, this is not because oh well he just didn't know he was giving his hand out. This is asking for some. Hey, can I get some money? You know, I took a dance class online in college because I had to get them elective credits. Okay, and I learned reverence. Okay, it's like giving thanks. So during in the past, if you wanted a good seat for the rich people, you were all the way up at the top. And for the poor, the peasants, you guys were all the way at the bottom, right? So reverence, you can't see my feet, but whatever. But you would go like this, giving thanks, and then you would go like that, giving thanks above. There's a difference when your hand is put out versus when it is turned out. Okay, there's a difference. All right, everyone knows that. All right, so that's one of the things in regards to that. And hey, if you were to be in Germany, and people say, "Oh, we're not in Germany," but here's the thing: that didn't happen on American soil. That happened in Germany, right? And they understood, and they made laws that said, you know what? If y'all are glamorizing Adolf, if y'all do the salutes, the swastikas, and all that stuff, we're going to arrest you on the spot as soon as we see it. Because they understand we learned from our history. We're not going to repeat it. We're not going to repeat it. Period. Okay? So the fact that you thought this was okay. All right. Um, so he goes and says, "What is your response?" Says what your response to Elon says about you, and that's a lot, as well. You have a lot of people who were making up excuses. Okay, it really is incredible to watch them explain these behaviors away. He's been in public speaking a long time. He's done a lot of interviews. He went to several Trump rallies and miraculously has not done said gesture before. So how come if you're giving thanks and bringing your heart out to everyone, how come you weren't doing that before? Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden he does it and it's being explained away. Okay, I'm white. He knew exactly what the f he was doing. Wrong on all levels, and I'll continue to say that to those that make excuses. I'm autistic and lack social skills. I'm also obsessed with social justice, equity, and fairness. My son is on the spectrum and came running into the living room showing me his phone and saying, "Mom, what the actual F?" Also, I'm a teacher of 29.5 years. Making excuse for racism is white supremacy. All right, now let's go ahead and go to the last video I have to show. So as you see right here, it says holy F, just days after his Nazi salute been around the world, Elon Musk is speaking at the AFD rally about German pride, warning against multicultural delusion and telling them not to feel guilty about the sins of their great grandparents.
I'm very excited for the AfD, and I think you're really the best hope for Germany. I think some things that something I think that is just very important is that people take pride in Germany and being German. This is very important. It's okay to be proud to be German. This is a very important principle, and it's okay. It's good to be proud of German culture, German values, and not to lose that in some sort of multiculturalism that dilutes everything. I think there's frankly too much of a focus on past guilt, and we need to move beyond that. Children should not be guilty of the sins of their parents, or even let alone their parents, their great grandparents, maybe.
So, what I want to mention in regards to that, no one is saying you have to be guilty. Even in America, white people, no one's saying you have to be guilty. Well, they want me to be guilty and be ashamed of being white. No one's ever said that. No one's saying that. We want you to understand what it is that your ancestors have created, which is, that's going to be a whole nother video, but we want you to understand what it is that racism is. And it's not just simple as, oh, well, I don't like you because your hair is nappy. It's not that. It's a whole system of oppression that you all created. Okay, so that's one of the main things in regards to it, and then you have people saying, oh, well, they want to take over. And you do realize most positions of power are still held by white people. Still. So what are we even talking about here? These are all your own rules. So if you're still struggling under your own regime, that's a huge issue, okay? Because it shows it's a class thing. All right. But at the end of the day, I find that to be interesting. No, you didn't do it. Okay. But you benefited from it. That's one of the main things, so it's like, if you're benefiting from it, you have to understand that, yes, I got where I am because of this. You can't go and say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps because I'm not struggling, but you didn't. There would be no reason for you to have been struggling. If you've been struggling this whole time, this actually reminds me. Someone asked, they were like, how come when you see vampires, they're all rich and they got castles, and someone said, if you've been alive since 14, 15, and you're still broke, step into the light. Step into the sun, because it's like you had all this stuff and you're still struggling. You're still struggling like that. It's because you're not realizing what the main issue is, though. Okay, outside of that analogy, but you're not realizing what the real issue is, and it's because it's a class issue. It's the have and the have-nots. Not Tyler Perry. Okay, but it's the have and the have-nots. Okay, and that's just really what it comes down to. That's the focal point of it. And a lot of people, they don't believe that that's what it is. They think it's just because I'm black and you're white.